Assalamu alaikum. Peace, everybody. How are you? Can you guys hear me? Apologize for the delay. Today was a little hectic, to be honest. I might let me know how the quality is, if there's lag, if the system is working right. How is everybody? Peace, 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 peace. Let me know if the mic quality is okay. Yeah, I feel like it's dropping frames. Give me 1 second. Into the worldly life. So I don't usually play video games. I rather put my time in something a little bit more productive or talk to people. That's to me is more so aligning. I'm just changing my internet real quick so that we can start this. Just give me 1 second, guys. Hope everyone is well. Hope everyone's doing well. Okay. All right, let me know if you guys can hear me. It should be better now. Awesome. Salam. So I don't play games at all. I used to, Zama, I used to play a lot of video games growing up when I wasn't very concerned about serving God per se. So I did spend some times playing video games. I grew up playing a lot of video games, but then I realized there's better potential in life if you focus your attention on things that are more important, a little bit more beneficial for you as a human being. So video games, unfortunately, they take a lot of time. Like you could try to limit yourself to 1 game or 2 games, but it's very difficult, especially if you're playing online multiplayer games like such as League of Legends or Counter-Strike and games of that nature. Or but you know, it's not a sin to play games, but it's a sin to make it almost like a full-time job. Because at that point, you're really dedicating yourself to you're dedicating yourself to things that are from the worldly life. You're banking on your enjoyment. You're banking on your entertainment, and that's literally what the worldly life is: it's games and entertainment. So if you find yourself chasing entertainment and you find yourself chasing games constantly, then you're okay with what's going on. Like, you're okay with having the worldly life. But the person who wants the hereafter, they're concentrating on providing things that is beneficial to society, and those usually require work. So you need to put the effort and you put the work in. Okay, but good evening, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you guys are. Peace from Spain. Thank you, Jabril, for being here. Ibrahim, Adam, Zama, 1350, Zaid, Salam Zaid, JS. Okay, so in the name of God, the merciful, the gracious, today I want to be expressing in today's congregation, which is here, we're here by God's permission. He provided us this equipment and this way for us to communicate. And alhamdulillah, despite everything that's going on in the world, we're capable of still communicating, even though our community is very segregated and people are from all across the world. We have people saying hello from Spain. We have people from East Asia, from Africa, from North America. People from all over the world are listening to the message that is being advertised, that is being broadcasted to all corners in the world, and in such an easy way for people to hear the truth once again. Because as human beings, we're very good at forgetting what the truth is, especially when we get comfortable. We start to come up with ways to explain the truth in a way so that it makes things more manageable in what we would like to do as desires. This is something that is very evident in the human being, in a sense where if he wants something and he believes that the religion is not allowing him to have such things, they would come up with ways to paint the religion in a way to allow them to do what they want to do. And sometimes political powers take a hold where, in a sense, that they start to modify the religion and force people to a certain understanding so that they would get whatever they want or whatever they're looking for in that time. So the first example that I want to go through, especially in this day and age where you see there are these people that are considered leaders of nations or leaders of enterprises or leaders of foundations and institutes. These are people who are very influential and powerful. They have either money or they have a hold on people. They have their way in life. And we have to be capable and able to understand the psychology of certain types of people, especially in what's going on in certain regions in the world. Now, the first person that is, I believe, one of the harshest person to deal with, despite not in harshest in regards to the way that they treat you, but harshest in the way that they present themselves, because they claim that they are from you. They claim that they're believers. They claim that they are people who are pious and understand the message of God. Those people are technically the backstabbers because they have no problem aligning with your worst enemies. It's just so that they could feel prestigious. When things go their way, they consider it that it was their own smart and it was their own hard work and their blood and effort that gave them what they have. This is very similar to the story of Qarun. Qarun is one of the people that used to be from the tribe of Moses. He's a child of Israel. But he started to become very oppressive to his own people. And Pharaoh, who was killing the people of Moses, along with Harun, Pharaoh, the king of these evil people, he saw that one of the people of Moses is assisting him in keeping the people of Moses down. So he pretty much helped him and not guided him, but he deluded him and he gave him a way so that he would still stay powerful and feel important, as if he's the spokesperson for the children of Israel, because that person is aligning with the interest of Pharaoh. That person is clearly a hypocrite. And you could see that it's weird that sometimes the people in the world who are also technically believers, they become jealous of this person that is getting praised and he's getting this fake blessings from the oppressors. So you could see this if we're going to assume that in our case that, let's say that the people that are sitting in the Zionist state, that they are what we would consider Pharaoh. They're killing a certain group of people. But then you have these people that are from the same tribe or from the same group or from the same people that are being oppressed. And they stand up and they're like, oh no, you see, the Zionists are not doing anything wrong. The Zionists are doing great because the other people, they deserve it. Or these people, they don't know how to live. Well, those people are fitting the example of Qarun. And you could see the Pharaoh of that time, they're lifting these people up and giving them a voice. Because if we're going to go to the mentality of Pharaoh, he is very good at persuading his people because his people are so intrigued or so entrenched into this idea of whatever Pharaoh is passing off at the time. So there's a verse where Pharaoh, despite him getting a lot of signs from God, and then the pain dissipates a little bit, he stands in his place and he goes, don't you see all these riches that I have? Don't you see these rivers that are flowing around me? You see these material things around me? How am I not better than these people around us? How am I not better than whoever they're preaching about? And then people praise him and listen to him because it's purely propaganda at that point. He's getting to his people by what the people have been programmed to think is success and good opportunities in the world. Qarun is a person that fell into that trap. And the people who are hypocrites, they support people like Qarun or they're jealous of people like Qarun. We can clearly see that as well for the people who consider themselves as Sunnis or Muslims, but then they also want to go support Pharaoh of our time. But this can also be flipped in a sense where we can put America as the Pharaoh with the God complex, that they can go destroy any nation and then they can run their propaganda and say the way and paint like what they're doing is something that is righteous and holy, even as Pharaoh did. Like, look at these people, they're running away from us. But they were servant to us. They were our slaves. We were the ones who were feeding them. We were taking care of them. Moses, are you coming to me and you're telling me about what, like, you're coming to me and after you killed somebody and I'm a person that fed you and you were raised young and I was helping you and I raised you and now you're coming and challenging me? And Moses' reply was, well, you're like holding something on top of my head because you enslaved me, because you oppressed me. It's like those people that say, well, don't bite the hand that feeds you. Well, what if the person that is, he slaps me 9 times, the hand is slapping me 9 times, but feed me once? Well, he's gonna hold the fact, like every time I'm gonna speak up, like, hey, stop hitting me, you're oppressing me, you're crazy, you're evil. He's gonna say, well, am I not feeding you? Is that how you treat the people that feed you? So they hold it against you in a way so that they're gaslighting you. This is something that is evident with a lot of evil leaders. They make it seem that if anytime they do any good in the world or anything that's positive that's done in the world, that's always going to erase anything evil that's occurring, despite them being more like the evil that they're occurring is much worse than what they're doing as good. So this was evident in how Pharaoh is. This is what America is doing now. Because if they want some resources, or if they want to oppress a nation, or they want to overtake a nation, they're very good at destroying the nation's society, their moral fabrics, and then even if they have to go bomb the whole area, and they're painting out as something that is good, present, like pleasing. But then you have the concept of the subservient leader that is next to Pharaoh, which in the case of Pharaoh was Qarun. Qarun is a person which people say that it could have been like the major priest of the time, or he was also a person who was in charge of much of what needs to be done, and he just listens to Pharaoh. Regardless, you could see it kind of, if we're going to go back to the thing of America, it's NATO. Like all these other people that have to listen to America and what America wants, they are all Haman in that case, not Harun, astaghfirullah, Haman in that case. So these people are serving the evil person, thinking that they're being beneficial, but they themselves have also took a lot of characteristics of what this evil person became, because they think that they have this prestige and this high ground. So they are willing to take the initiative even and go destroy and hurt people, thinking that they're building, or not building, they're achieving the goal that that big leader is trying to achieve. In the case of Pharaoh, he wanted to have total control of the land. He wanted to be a god. He thought he was God, and that he wanted to beat anybody that tried to challenge him in that case. And seeing that the children of Israel are people that applied themselves to a god in a certain way, he didn't appreciate that, and he wanted to destroy that seed in a way that it was very hostile. But he also wanted to not overtake them, but like control them. And this is the same with the ideologies that we have in the world today. So it's not very hard to go into places like in East Asia, or into Russia, or into America, or Europe, where people have a certain ideology where they think that this ideology has to spread, and this is the only way for us to live. And anybody who's challenging this ideology is technically challenging my power. Because if I am the head of this ideology, and my ideology is capable of spreading for a very long time, I need to be able to maintain that, expand that, and to also propagate it. Because that's going to increase my power. That's going to increase my influential position. That's going to make me richer. These are all concepts that the humans can fall in very quickly. It is very easy and it's very clear that if someone gets, for example, $100,000, his first thought is, how can I multiply it? How can I keep getting more money because of this $100,000? How can I put it in a way so that I am now having $200,000? And then he wants to expand. And this is a verse in the Quran, al-hakum takathur, like the need or the want to spread and to multiply, it deludes you. Sorry guys. It makes you, it captures you, right? And it kind of deludes you on the purpose that you need to do as a human being. But those people that are in the leader position, their takath, or their spreading, and the way that they want to multiply is their ideology. They want to put their picture everywhere in their country, in certain places, because they want you to think about them. And then because now I'm thinking about them, and if I want to climb the stairs and become a strong person in their society, I would have to take the initiative and try to finish what these people want to do. This is one of the types of evil leaders that we currently see constantly around us, which is the case of Haman, right? But unfortunately, the way that we only deal with them is we have to do what Moses did. And what Moses does is warn them, because we don't technically have the resources right now, the majority of us, or the power or the influence to be able to take these people head on. Because if we're capable of taking a certain leader head on, we would have to warn them. And if they try to attack us or treat us like how the Zionists are treating the Palestinians, or how Pharaoh treated the people of Moses, you should fight back in that moment. But because you don't have that resources, you're supposed to warn them. And because the person is being so violent and so persistent in his disbelief, then the words are being fulfilled on him, and then God is the one that's going to take care of that. But there is something that you have to keep in mind about these three evil types. So Qarun, right, the person of Moses, he never gave back anything good to God. He thought it's all from him, and he got destroyed with what he was given, right? And then you have Pharaoh. Pharaoh's destruction was his persistence in being stubborn and trying to overcome any challenge in the worst way possible. So imagine somebody playing chess with everybody, but he wanted to play chess with God, thinking that he's going to win. And God allowed him to go for a long time, despite the oppression, despite all the pain that was occurring around him, because it's very clear that anyone who died or got hurt in the path of Pharaoh, that person's going to have an easy judgment, because Pharaoh oppressed them. So Pharaoh's going to be responsible for that evil, and the person, whatever they had to go through, it's very easy for God to forgive that person, because the person didn't have much of a chance. So it's hard to see people dying and going through torment, especially when you feel like you can't do anything. But you have to trust that God is going to make it right, that God is extremely just, and God will give the opportunity back to the person that it was stolen from them in an unjust manner. But then the issue is that even if you try to go to the head of the snake, Pharaoh, you have many other snakes around him that are willing to also backbite you and hurt you, but they are fully invested in the mission of Pharaoh. That's the third person in this case, which is Haman. So I just always suggest to educate the people around you, and you have to notice these personality types in what you are constantly being bombarded at. You know, if you go and dive into Zionist propaganda for a whole 6 months, your ideology can be influenced and it can be changed, but they're selling you a lie. But you need to recognize the lie, just like how the people of Pharaoh had to recognize the lie when Pharaoh was speaking. Am I not better than him? Do you not see these lands? Have I not treated you well? Have I not fed you? These are all lies. These are all ways that he's gaslighting you. He's putting you in a way so that you are tranced and engulfed with what this person is doing. But with that said, you got to keep your eye out. You have to recognize these personality types. It could be from your own backyard in the case of Qarun, and eventually God will intervene. You have to really bank on the promise of God. You have to be capable of detaching yourself from all this propaganda. You have to be capable of detaching yourself from the internet at any second. Because before the service, we were talking about the worldly life in a sense where it's like, well, do you play these video games? Well, okay, we can say no, that video games take a lot of time. But what about like the shorts and the TikTok and Twitter and all of this social media, where whenever we have any free time, the first thing we want to do is just go and scroll. The scrolling, the thing is, this is triggering us because it's giving us entertainment, but it's making us weak in a sense that if these machines are not around, we don't know what to do. Life is boring, life is terrible, life sucks. Like, it's hard to do what we need to do because life right now is difficult, right? But now, with that said, be very, very vigilant now. Bank on the promise of God that God's victory is coming soon to the believers, and try to identify the Qaruns of your places. Identify the pharaohs in the situations when you're speaking. So it's like in the war of Ukraine and Russia, who's the pharaoh, who on each side, who's the Haman on each side, who's the Qarun of their people, and then you can start to branch out into the world, and you can start to recognize that these characteristics that God put of evil people, and these are not the only evil people that are listed in the Quran, but these people encapsulate or capture many of the people around you. So when you're seeing people defending certain ideologies, which is clearly something that is evil to humanity, then you understand where you should be putting. So when you see someone like Elon Musk sitting and standing and clapping for Netanyahu when he's in Congress giving a speech, that person right there who has a lot of money, but he's not a political person, but he has a power of influence, he's acting like Haman, right? You could see it clearly that this man, I'm influential and powerful. I'm letting my crowd and my people recognize that I'm supporting the case of Zionism, right? But remember, this is where the point that I want to get to. All of these three evil people, at any point, which is very difficult for people, they can repent, fix themselves, and try very hard to make things right. And those people have a chance of forgiveness because God is extremely merciful. If Pharaoh allowed the children of Israel to leave with Moses, where was the problem? Because that is what God ordered him to do. If Pharaoh said, you know what, yeah, I believe in God of Moses, at the beginning when he got his first sign, do you think that God would still punish him for all the crimes that he did? No, God will make it right for everybody that died because of Pharaoh. But he will also accept Pharaoh's repentance, and he has the capability of forgiving Pharaoh. But people sometimes are so entrenched into their own nonsense that it's very difficult for them to actually take the path of repentance. But let's imagine, okay? It would be nice, but it's very far-fetched for it to occur. But it's still a possibility because God is merciful. Imagine one day you get a publication from Netanyahu, from the Zionist state, that he feels bad, that he's very remorseful and he's very regretful for what he did to the Palestinians, and it isn't what God wants. And he is willing to give a one-state solution where everybody is in peace, and he's going to call it Palestine and Israel. And he makes steps towards the world peace. And he also starts now to not destroy mosques and to try to rebuild what he destroyed and give people back their rights. Do you don't think that person has the capability, despite all the evil he did in his life, that he would not have the chance of repentance of God because he showed remorse, and with whatever he still had, he did his part? Would he? Very low chance. Because the human being, unfortunately, they don't believe until they see the difficult punishment or a hurtful punishment. So keep that in mind, and I hope you guys understood the message today. Alhamdulillah. And I would recommend that after the questions and answers, for you guys to stand and to pray Surah Al-Zukhruf. So it's just so that you could see some of what I'm trying to say here. I'll tell you what chapter it is, just to read the chapter, to think about the chapter. You should do it in prayer. So isolate yourself. You do your wudu. You start with the Fatiha. You read the verses. You read the chapter. You prostrate to God, and you talk to God. As you're talking to God and exalting God, you also think about what you read and try to apply it to the world that you're in today and what's going on in the world today. So Zukhruf, I believe, is 43, chapter 43, for anyone who's interested in reading it. Now, with that, alhamdulillah, all praise to God, and it's open now for any questions that you have. Okay, let me see what I missed. Sorry, I wasn't paying attention to the messages as I was doing. So you don't play it. Good evening, brother. Good evening. Just one question. Quran doesn't mention how to perform istinja, but hadith. Well, God does say to do ghusl, which is to wash. There isn't, to think that there is a set way of doing something, as in it's a choreographed, that if you don't do it in a certain way that you're in trouble. This is not how religion is. There's ways to become efficient in the way that you're doing things, right? So for example, like, what's an easy example? It's easier for me, for example, to pre-warm up my car so that it would heat up or cool down, like inside the car, so I don't have to go through the whatever weather that is of the day. If it's extremely hot, it would cool down my car inside, so I don't have to sit in the heat of my car. If it's really cold outside, I can warm it up so I don't have to sit in the cold, right? But does that make it religion now that it has to do? No, it's me being efficient. So when it comes down to concepts like prayer, and it comes down to concepts of wudu, and it comes down to concepts of ghusl, there are ways to make things efficient. But why would you take something that is less efficient if you can find an efficient way? So for example, in the question that you asked, which is literally how do you wipe your butt? Yeah, there's a way so that I could wipe my butt. Where A, it's efficient, it's going to be clean, and I don't make myself dirty after I wiped it. You see what I'm saying? But these are not concepts of religion. This is a concept of you trying to be efficient. And you as a Muslim, you want to be as efficient as possible. Because you have a set time where you were born, you have a set time when you're going to die. God said that he gave us death, life and death, so he would test us who's the best workers among us. So in this time you have your time that you've been allocated. How efficient can you be in that time? Right? If you're going to lounge around all day, then you're wasting your time. You're burning that time that you don't get back. So let's example, you are right here as a human being. Sorry, how can I do this? Right there. And your destiny is right here. Okay? So you're here and your destiny is here. And every day, with the time that you're allocated, you're only allowed to take one step. And if you took a step every day of your life, you would reach the destiny, your maximum potential, right? But let's say that you walked 6 steps, whatever, and then you said, today I'm really tired. I worked very hard. I want to take a break. Okay. But now you missed a day for not working. And therefore, the next day, you take your step, but you cannot make the time that you took to rest. So instead of reaching your maximum potential, you're 1 step behind. And the more steps that you take, you're further away from the destiny that you could have reached as your potential. So life is all about being efficient. It's all about being in tune to what needs to be done. That's why God's saying that the worldly life is entertainment and playing games, because you don't want to take steps to your great destiny, which is rewarded in heaven. Like you can have cities and you can have like all of this businesses and all these things that you've kind of built here because you worked so hard here. You get it rewarded in heaven. So this is where like the concepts of whatever you asked about, I don't understand how this is a religious question. It would be abandoning the duty, although forbidding it totally may be wrong, but addictive. So yes, okay. So peace from Holland. Assalamu alaikum. Salam from Brazil. Peace, brother. Isn't it okay? Usul, you're right. Or the story with the man with the garden in the Quran who bragged of his car. Yeah, JS, you're absolutely right. That's another person who is evilly inclined. Sorry, I just need to fix my camera. Where as soon as he got comfortable, where he felt like this will last forever. Like I'm such a blessed person and it's all my hard work. Like, and even if I go back to God, I'm always gonna be blessed. I'm super blessed. But then as soon as the pain comes, he's crying. You can't put yourself in a position where you think you're always good, that you're going to heaven no matter what, which is actually a curse on many sectarians. You go to Christians, you say these magic words, you go to heaven no matter what. So whatever happens, I'm always in good standings. You go to Jews, we're the chosen people, we're always going to go to heaven. So we know if they believe in heaven, many of them don't, or they think heaven's here on earth. So it's like they think that they will never lose. And you go to Sunnis or Sunnis and Shias, I say Ashhadu anna la ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. So I'm going to heaven no matter what. I get intercession. So these are that person that you're describing there, JS, about the person who brags because he don't think that this will end. It's very fitting to these kind of people and these mentalities. You are a munafiq. Thank you, Shia or non-Muslim. Like, this man just wants to sit here and fight the world. You reject Hadith. No, I don't reject the Quran. Shia, you are here every time. I don't care. Do not defame others, nor... Zaid, you're trying to talk sense to a nonsense. Haman, dear brother. Yes, Adam, thank you. I said Harun, astaghfirullah. Papa, will Isa be coming back? Isa is not coming back. What's Isa going to come back and do? There's no prophets after Prophet Muhammad. There are messengers, as Mr. Crossing Tooth here. Zayd Isa will not come back, exactly. He will take questions after speech, right? Okay, Salam Muhammad. I'd like to talk to you about consolidating all the Quran alone folks under one umbrella. I'm a software developer and I like to create a site and features to help. Okay, so there is a website which is called Free Minds, which is a very good website that you can go discuss the concepts of the Quran alone. Do you think we have to stay as one community? This is God's given order, right? But the thing that you have to realize about the Quran alone community, it's not going to be one color. Okay, so what I mean by one color, it's never going to be a single interpretation of what Quran alone is. There's people that are closer to the truth and there's people that are closer to a different way of seeing the world. It does not mean that you guys are enemies, but it means that it's going to be a collage of different communities that have to come together and still be brothers and sisters. So for example, there's many people that say that their salah or the prayer is not a ritual prayer. Okay, I don't agree with you, but you're taking this concept for what you're considering is the Quran, okay? I'm going to be your brother if you need help. I'm also judging your life because of your interpretation, but I'm not going to sit here and try to fight you and say you're done and try to divide. And these are our ritualiyuns. These are ritualiyuns, and these are like non-ritualiyuns, right? And start making labels. That's the curse. That's where sectarianism comes in. But for us to be a single Quran alone community, this ideology, this mentality has to be within all groups. Like, okay, yeah, I have a different interpretation than him. It doesn't mean that that person is putting me down. It doesn't mean that this person hates me or we can't see eye to eye. I'm being either guided to or deluded to something, and he's being guided or deluded to something. Do you believe in the Quran? Yes. Do you believe that Prophet Muhammad brought the Quran? Yeah. Do you believe in God? Yeah. And the angels, the last day? Okay, we're good. Cool. We're good. Do you, right? So, but we can always have a discussion. We can always have things. So, Omar, it's easier said than done. The issue with, I'll get back to the things where we left off, but now, not trying to put anyone down. It is very easy to hear the message. It's very easy to understand the message. It's very easy to apply it to yourself. But as I said, it requires work. If people want to work on on spreading the message online, then we do need help. You understand? We need to be able to propagate, for people to write, for people to make videos, for people to make brochures, for people to make publications, for people to make all sorts of ways, music, whatever it is, in a way to pass the message to a wider audience. I feel like our community, and I don't mean this in a disrespectful way at all, that they're very good at discussing topics with each other in a polite manner, and they love seeing people come, but there isn't much of a group effort where we're supporting each other into spreading the messages and spreading what needs to be done. Like, obviously there's a few group of people that I consider what they're doing is great, so I promote them, and there's people that are better than me in what I believe is in the interpretations, and I like learn off them, right? But we have to support each other by spreading this message. We're up against the big propaganda machine, whether it's the atheism, whether it's Salafism, whether it's Shiaism. They have a lot of money and they have a lot of resources to spread their messages. But us, what we have is the community, and we don't really need much money because of the information that's in front of us. And even if 100 people watch your small short, that's 100 people hearing the message. To you, it might sound like a small number because of the numbers you see online. This guy's getting thousands of views. This guy's getting millions of views. Yeah, but you let 100 people hear the message, you see, for 1 minute. So if you're going to go out on the street, go find 100 people and talk to them 1 minute. It is going to be very time consuming. But now in this day and age, you talk to 100 people within a matter of an hour. Not talk, but you're telling them the message. So us as a community, alhamdulillah, we have computer engineers as Omar here, and we have also people who are going to be good actors. We're going to have people that are good singers. We have people that are good in persuasion. We have people that are going to be good in politics. We're going to have people that are good in being lawyers. These people need to also actively work on this community worldwide. That's my 2 cents on that. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. I'd like to ask a question. If someone lives in Antarctica or Sweden at a specific time of year, sometimes there is no nighttime, how should Isha be prayed? God asks you to pray 3 times a day if you can observe the night. If you're not observing the night, then stick to the times that God has asked you. But there are times of tasbih to overcome this issue. But me as an individual, like, I'm going because I need to be praying twice a day, right? If it's not aligning with the sun, I will break down my day in a sense so that I am praying those times the way that I'm used to in places like Saudi. But you living there is going to have its benefit and it's going to have its downfall. So like your fasting, if you're going to fast, is very long. So you become a person who is more capable of holding out because your fasting is a little bit more intense than the person that's living closer to the equator, for example, right? But that makes your body better than the person that's living in the equator because you're going through more pressure, and your reward is a little bit better than the person who fasted on the equator. You both get an amazing reward, but the person who had to fast longer is being someone who's being more sincere to the verses of God, and he understands it's because of how the world has been built. These are all things that obviously God has addressed in a way in the Quran where, yeah, at that point it's not night prayer. But God did say that فَإِذَا فَرَغْتَ فَانْصَبْ. So if you are like free to stand, what are you standing in that point? You should be standing in remembrance of God, which could be a prayer, which could be a time of exaltation, of wonder, of thinking. So prayer is something that like you should wholeheartedly give yourself into, regardless more so of the prescribed times. But the prescribed times you should never waste, and you should never be late on. That's the only thing that I could say about that. To Icorn Flex, I would have to live there to really be able to understand this. Maybe if you go to Baba Shuaib's channel, the correctional officer, I believe he's in Finland, which they would get times in the year where the day is very long, because I think Finland is quite up there, close to Sweden. 50 Madahib type 5. I apologize, it's because of the character. No worries. Allah said that the mouths are known, months are known. We can have our support, social media. Yep. Peace, Muhammad. What's your opinion on the proper Quran recitation? It's common. How's the best wash? Okay, I'm actually working on it's a very intense video, Yagna, in regards to the recitations and what they say, the 7 or the 10 or whatever. It's a lot more in depth than that, because they're actually letters that were introduced to the Quran that did not exist during the time of Hijaz, which is the Hamza. And there's many readings that also have been documented, where they go back to the Prophet, but they did not make the official 7 canonical readings. There's technically 16 to 17 to 18 readings where it was the survival of the fittest of the time. So for a very, very long time, Warsh was actually the most common type of recitation, the type of reading. And then over time, Hafs kind of overtook it, and that became the most read and the most viewed. What you need to do is, you see the verses which have like differences in recitation, you have to see it on the overall message of the Quran. So there's some verses where overall, on the overall message of the Quran, it does not fit, because it's saying something that does not align with how the Quran is showing itself later, right? And then there's recitations which do not align with the Arabic language, which the word will not have a meaning. Like there's a reading where in Fatiha, اهدنا الصراط المستقيم. That's how you say صراط المستقيم. But there's a reading where it's اهدنا صراط المستقيم. What's صراط? Oh no, that's just how the recitation is. It's ahruf. It makes no sense. Well, no, that's how the Prophet did it. No, you're just lying. The guy had obviously a speech impediment, or he had a pronunciation issue, and you said that this is what the Prophet said. No, it's not what the Prophet said, because it's not an Arabic word. But these are things where you have to fight the indoctrination, but you have to understand why there's many recitations, because the language actually evolved. So that's a whole big animal that we have to go. Salam, bro. What do you think about the takbir? Yeah, you can say Allahu Akbar, because God said Allahu wa rabbuka fakabbir. So I think it's the last verse in chapter 17 where God goes وَقُلِ الْحَمْدُ لِلَّهِ الَّذِي لَمْ يَتَّخِذُ وَلَدًا وَلَمْ يَكُنْ لَهُ شَرِيكٌ فِي الْمُلْكِ وَلَمْ يَكُنْ لَهُ وَلِيٌّ مِنْ ذِلٍّ وَكَبِّرْهُ تَكْبِيرًا. Right? So كَبِّرْهُ تَكْبِيرًا. كَبِّرْهُ تَكْبِيرًا is to try to have the largest or most dominant image or understanding concept of God. So however much you can try to understand how infinity is, there's a step even above it. So you could make God even more, the concept of God even more dominating in your mind, okay? So God is everywhere. Yeah, that's true. Okay, Allahu Akbar than that. Like God is even bigger than that. Allahu Akbar. So it's like he's everywhere, and he's at every single point of time, past, present, and future. Okay, so now I've expanded my version of God, or understanding of God, not version of God, my understanding of God. And then you could, the other concept of Allahu Akbar, oh, you think you're strong? Allahu Akbar. You think you're smart? Allahu Akbar. Right? Like this is a very amazing event. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar means God is more dominant. God is bigger. God is better than what is occurring, or God is even bigger than what you're thinking. So this is why you can't say Allahu Akbar. Right? Yadamin. Salam, sister. Fine, but some verses are reject, brother, Quran. But we have to draw the line sometimes. Interpretations. That's true. But you still have to be peaceful with each other. What's up, brother? Mr. Wolf. Why are we here as in humans? To serve God, to work towards what God has allowed us to work towards, because there's a bigger plan that is going to reveal itself on the day of judgment. We just have to believe that we're here for a purpose, because everything around us is driven to a purpose. Salam, where is it written the Quran came to Muhammad alayhi salawatu wasalam, inna anzalna alayka al-kitab? How do you go around that nobody has understood the Quran like you throughout history? If the Quran was so clear that there wasn't at least the Quran alone Muslims in Allah, there was many Quran alone Muslims in the last 1,000 years. It's just your cult tells you that there isn't, doesn't make it accurate. Here, I'll tell you a story. This is one of my favorite stories recently that I read. This is just hadith, okay? So it's not, but this is like what you tell to the sectarian, which is gonna break his mind, okay? So there's a guy called Dahmad. He was a doctor. Dahmad was a physician or a doctor during the time of the Prophet ﷺ. There's a time the Prophet was inflicted. This is their hadith, and he's not talked about a lot. I'll tell you why he's not talked about a lot. So Dahmad, he came from a very far place because he was a doctor that was being called to help the Prophet with something. And as the Prophet was being healed by this Dahmad, the Prophet also expressed the words of the Quran and the message of the Quran to this Dahmad guy. Dahmad believed, okay? He said, I'm a Muslim. I believe in God. I believe in what you said, Prophet Muhammad. And then Dahmad went back to his city, never to be heard of again. So, is he a Muslim or not? He's considered a Sahabi, but he doesn't have a long story, because his story is he became a believer, and went back to his city, never heard from again. There's no more publications about Dahmad. So he had no hadith. He had just the basic concept of what the Prophet explained to him, what God is. He did not have the full Quran, because the Prophet was still alive at that moment, and this was still, I believe, not earlier, but halfway through the revelation, as per their hadith. So this guy did not have hadith. This guy did not have all of this stuff that they're saying that he needs to have for him to be a Muslim. Yet they call him a Muslim. So he's not even a hadith rejecter. He had no hadith. He just literally had what the Prophet told him in regards to what the Quran is. He had whatever the Quran was, he was told, and he left. He went and lived his life. My sister Yatim, sorry. There are definitely people that have understood the Quran this way. One example of this can be found in the works of Shafi'i, because he's arguing against them. See the dissertation of John Burton. Exactly. Like they keep trying to convince themselves they didn't exist, but yet they argued with them for a very long time. Can you explain the tasbih schedule and so on? Zaid, I am making a video in regards to this. Please say again the name of the site or put a link. Okay, the site is called freeminds.com. Let me find it. Freeminds.org or freeminds.com. As it loads, I will put it back. You're making my low views feel like it is, brother. Sorry guys, I'm trying to keep up. Okay, now let me see. Why does one their whole life to pray fear? Seems annoying. Brother, I love waking up in the morning. It shows discipline. It shows like consistency. It's not like what I want. It's like what's better for me. See what I'm saying? Like running is not a fun task. But when I do go run, the odd times I go run, I feel good about myself at the end, because it feels like I accomplished something and I want to do it again tomorrow. But then laziness gets the best of you. But with prayers, it's different. Guys, the worst thing that can happen to me is God ignoring me. Like God not answering me. Like, to me, hell, the pain is pain, but the truest pain is calling out for God and not feeling an answer, not getting an answer. Like, that is the truest pain. For me, in the prayer, if I don't have the time where I'm talking to God, like, yes, I can talk at any time, but in the prayer, it's much different. And it's like, I don't know how to explain it. Brother, have you yet? I do know how to explain it, but it takes experience here. It's not something that you can pass down by its feelings, its emotions. It's a relationship. It's an interaction that cannot be really explained to people other than you going through it. And it's not something that happens the first time. God told us, وَاصْطَبِرْ عَلَيْهَا. So the salah, you have to be like persistent. You have to be persistent. You have to be steadfast. You have to be vigilant about it, and you have to be dedicated to it. And within a few months, you see that it becomes a very important part of you, where it's not out of laziness. It's just, it needs to be done. And when you're doing it, even if it's like you're very tired, even if it's like you had a long day, The prayer is just, it needs to get done, because at the end of it, you feel like you've had that moment that you needed. Okay? The prayer is something that's amazing. Like, it's not, God told us to pray. It's not because God wants us to pray for him. God wants us to pray because it's better for us as a human being. See what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, it brings you closer to God, because you're literally remembering God in that moment. Brother, have you yet to come the names of the 4 forbidden months are? For me, the 4 forbidden months or sacred months start with Ramadan, and it's the 4 months after that. So it would be 9, 10, 11, 12. Ramadan's obviously a holy month, because that's the month where the Quran came down. That is a sacred month. And then the months after that leads up all the way to the what aligns with the pilgrimages. If you go to chapter 9, God says that for the disbelievers, to go and walk into the land for 4 months. And then he goes, after the holy months have been stripped, then fight them. Okay? And then God even goes that it's forbidden for them after this year for them to go to Mecca, right? So that would mean what we would have is, God said 4 consecutive months. God labeled them as holy months, and then after the end of these months, they're not allowed to come, which makes it a new year, right? So you know it's the last 4 months of the year. Yes, you can use transliteration. You can you can use transliteration. You can use your own language, but the Arabic. You might not need to learn Arabic per se, but you can start understanding Quranic Arabic in the way that the words are built up. But learning Arabic is going to get you closer to the language, it's going to get you closer to understanding the truth, because the translations, however many translations you put in front of you, they're not going to do the justice that the word in Arabic like is truly revealing. You know what I'm saying? Like, for example, we can have ba'san, mublisin is a word, like mublis, mublisin, qanitin with the ta. So there's these 2 words which kind of sound similar, which have a similar definition in English, but in Arabic it's very different, right? And there's many words in the Quran where it's like the word's definition in English kind of has to be 1 word, but in Arabic it's painting you a different image. Yeah, I get that, but people choose to, don't have to. You know, how did you become a mod? Because she's a good person. How did you become a mod? Would you like to be a mod, charitable citizen? Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. Allahu Akbar is not mentioned in the Quran. Allah never used it in the Quran. Wait, brother, as I said, there's a verse that's saying وَكَبِّرْهُ تَكْبِيرًا. The reason Allahu Akbar is not good because it's an innovation that earns bid'at. Okay, I don't agree there, but if that's how you see it, I think it's .org, freeminds.org. Thank you. Yeah, you reminded me. Thank you, sister. Freeminds.org. There it is. You are absolutely right. My bad. So I'm going to post it in the link. Wait, did I mess this up? I did mess it up. There's the link for the website. Yeah, I like Sola Qur'ana. The brother there, he's very wise, and he's awesome on the way that he presents his information. I might not agree with everything that he says, but the way that he presents himself, you could truly see his sincerity. You could truly see that he does love the message. He does love God, and he's a very wise individual. And I love how he connects many different things that occurred with like the Christians, with the Jews, with the Pharaohs, and how the words are expressing the same concepts. He's very wise in the way that he presents his information. Thank you, sister. You beat me to it. Sorry. So, brother, can Muslims call on the name Yahweh? Yahweh is Yod He Waw He, which is like, if you look at what they're explaining, that acronym, I guess, is trying to stand for, it's like the being, or like the being that's always there kind of thing, the eternal being, or he is that who he is. It's like he always existed. So Yahweh roughly would translate in the Quran is Al-Hayyul Qayyum. Allahu la ilaha illahu Al-Hayyul Qayyum. Al-Hayyul Qayyum is technically what Yahweh would be. So there's nothing wrong with technically saying Yahweh, but you have to understand what Yahweh is. And you have to know that the Jews, for some reason, they have a problem with saying or even writing the name God. So you'll see they'll put like G and then dash and then D, right? And they would like El. They wouldn't go Elohim. They tried for some reason masquerade. I think they say it's out of respect, or if the page is going to get burnt or desecrated, they didn't desecrate the name of God. But also that the devil sometimes wants to block you from saying the name of God. So this is where I think this concept where they put an acronym to Yahweh appeared, because I believe it was his full name, which is Al-Hayy Al-Qayyum in Arabic. This is just like basic, like looking into it. And someone who speaks Hebrew explained to me that it means the eternal being. But we will turn him. Man, I love when I see like verses of the Quran just appearing in the shorts to explain my point of the view with limited characters authorized. Sorry, brother. Not sure. Let's see. Okay, Salam. Do you believe every man has a soulmate spouse? No. I believe so, as God created a spouse for Adam himself from his soul. So as the parents of humanity is the same for us. I think that you can find somebody who's your soulmate, but I think, okay, this is going to sound so weird. When it comes down to relationships, okay, it's the same things with food. So people want to be extremely picky with their spouses, but love grows in ways that you cannot understand. Yes, you could sit there and find the prettiest girl that you can, and you can and if you're spending time and you're both being polite to each other, you can grow love. And if it's someone that isn't like as visually pleasing, or they might have some quirks to them, if you spend a long time with them, you can develop love. And you come to a point where if that person isn't in your life, it hurts you. It's like you losing your soulmate. The concept of you having a soulmate, this is like love at the first sight and falling in love and all this, but it's literally like eating a food. Some apples taste better than other apples, but you're capable of eating any apple. You see what I'm saying? But there's apple that look rotten, they feel rotten, and they smell rotten. You don't want to eat those. That's the same things with having spouses. You don't need to have the best apple looking like you see it. You are capable of building a relationship with anybody who has the right characteristics and the right morals. They don't need to be idealistic in nature. It needs to be tolerable. And anybody in the world, even with your sister, even with your mother, even with your cousins, there's always going to be points where you need to tolerate each other. And that's going to be the same with any relationship you get. So to think that there's only one person that is built for you, no, there's many people that's built for you. Adam had one option, right? That's why they fell in love and they grew that love and they had that relationship. People conflate love with sex often, but love is bigger than that. Love is the ability to sacrifice without wanting anything in return. And if that person accepts that sacrifice, you feel good. And if that person is grateful, you feel extremely good. And if the person hurts you a little bit, you would tolerate and be patient. But if you're sensing that this person is no longer grateful for the sacrifices, then that love starts to fade away. That's why you see people who've been together for 30 or 40 years, their world is broken when one of them passes away, because they're so attached. Does that mean they got along all the time? No. Does that mean that there's things that they don't bother each other? Obviously there is, but it's part of them because they literally grew up together. You take two trees and you put them in the same soil, they will grow around each other, and it would not feel good in that moment if you just strip a tree out of it, because it's going to feel empty to whatever it's been growing next to it. Same things with human beings. There's a lot of things that Disney did to the concept of relationships and the charming prince and all this. It's not true. It's very easy to build a relationship with almost anyone. Unfortunately, in our day and age, there's more rotten apples than there are good apples. But if you see a good apple, hold on to it. She doesn't need to be, or he doesn't need to be, or she doesn't need to be the most like best apple out there, which is the issue with a lot of people nowadays. Sorry, I could talk about this for a while. Very good. Never long. Yes, thank you, brother. Yoga. So, means like Kik is considering. Awesome. I hope you guys find your soulmates. I hope you guys find somebody where you are completely attached to each other in a way that's healthy, number one. Two, where it has God in your mind constantly. And B, where it gets to a point where you know they have to leave, but you are so looking forward to spending forever with them in heaven, right? That's truly what the best part about the relationship. We're We're here forever, guys. Like, this is just temporary, but we're here forever. Like, you like building some things for God, you should love that. You're gonna do that forever. Like, you if you love your prayer, you're gonna, if you get the opportunity, you can do that forever. You see what I'm saying? If there's somebody that you love, you're gonna spend forever with them. Like, forever. Do you understand what forever means? Okay, whoever rejects the hadith has rejected the words of the messenger. Okay, thanks, dude. Oh, no, wait, you wrote a ayah. Let's see what you've said in the ayah. Bro, actually, you're fine. I'm just gonna ignore you. Why do Quranists translate salah as dua? We don't. I don't see Quranists saying salah. I say prayer. Dua is supplication. But why do people come here and call me Quranists as if it's an insult? If salah was a prayer, only a prayer, which is an understatement, then it would appear in the Torah, also in the Gospel. But we see there's keeping the mitzvah. Does Friday prayer... Okay, so Christians and Jews pray, though. Does Friday prayer specifically exist in the Quran as a specific prayer to do together that they know? The word Friday, congregation, Jum'ah, is the congregation. It does not necessitate for it to be on the... sixth day of the week, I believe. Sabbath would be the 7th. Truth, Quran alone, my brother. Salam. Does Dajjal Mahdi occur? No, there's no Dajjal, there's no Mahdi. This is them trying to make you get scared of a concept that's from the devil. God willing, I will find in heaven, if I'm blessed enough to make it. Me and you, sister. Inshallah. I hope I see you in heaven, JS. And I hope I see everybody here in heaven. The Quran, brother. I mean, you obey the messenger because the messenger came and gave you the Quran. You could obey God before you could obey the Quran. I mean, yeah, you could obey God before the Quran came. The Flying Dutchman. Sorry, guys, I missed some messages. I'm gonna go back up and see him. Obedience to Muhammad through the Sunnah. Sure, if that's how you feel like. Thanks, bro. Salam. I would like to translate some of your videos, and of course, Kamal, you have absolutely every right to do whatever you want with my videos. Machiavellianism is in the Quran. Indeed, Pharaoh became exalted in the land and divided its people into sects, deeming factions of them weak and oppressed. Obedience to Muhammad. You guys just throw things. You don't know what you're saying. You know what Machiavellianism is? Like, you know what Machiavellianism is? And is that something that is positive or negative then? Can be with anyone you inspired. Yeah, that's right. Brother Armin Wolf. The 5 pillars things is not in the Quran. True. Because, by the way, Jibreel, if you ever look into the Mu'tazila, their pillars of Islam is much different than the pillars of what traditional Islam is, or Sunnism is. Because Sunnism, it's all about the chores. It's a chore-based religion. You do these chores, and you, even if you're a rotten human being, as long as you're doing these physical chores, you're good. Say this, walk this, fast this, do this type of prayer, khalas. You can be as rotten as you want. Doesn't matter. You did your chores. Shamsi refuted you. Where? You're right. I'm still looking for where Mecca is. I have yet to find it. Bro. Shamsi ran away so fast in that conversation. He's been a meme on my channel. Aina Mecca. Alright. Cool. Did you ever follow the hadith? If so, stopped you from following the hadith? Okay, so I grew up Sunni, so I understood what like the general people understood of what the religion was. Then I read the Quran on my own. 2010, I saw a different message than what, like I saw what God is telling us in the Quran is different than what my people were doing. I got really pissed at my people. I submitted to God, and then later, like almost 6 years later, I actually opened up a book of hadith. I didn't even know what Bukhari and all of that is. And then it shocked me. I'm like, people believe this stuff. And then I read a lot of it. And then I took my time to understand what they're trying to say. And then, at that point, it was very clear that the hadith is not something that the Prophet would have said, authorized, and it came from the devil to divide. And it was the exact same thing that what happened to the groups before us. And my people, the reason why I'm mad at my people is because they started to idolize the Prophet without realizing it. Aina Mecca. Here, you know what? I'm a person that love giving people. There we go. That's one person. And then there's my other homie here. I need some help. Even though, but like, I don't delete or ban anybody. So just so you know, I let people say what they want, unless if they go way above and insult the Prophet. Can you speak on the concept of predestination as an article of faith? According to Hadith, there are 6. According to Quran, only 5 minus qadr or presentation. Okay. Can you speak on concepts of predestination? Predestination isn't something that is, which again, this is, you said my opinion. Predestination is not something that is true in a sense where it's like God created you that you're gonna do exactly this. Okay, so you're predestined to go to hell. No, I don't believe in that. What I believe is there's predetermination. In a sense, if I drop this, it makes that sound. If I drop it 100 times, it makes that sound 1 billion times, every single time, because that's already been determined in the sense that this is going to fall at a certain speed. This is going to land in a certain way. Because it landed in a certain way, there was a touch. Your ears are going to hear it. That's already been determined. So for every input, for every thought, there's already a determined output. The destination is not pre-assigned because you have your free will. So you get to pick. Like a good example, I was talking to my really good friend today. And this is where freedom comes. So God created the world. Let's say we created a world, and you have the ability to kick a ball and to kiss the tree. Okay, you can kick a ball and you can kiss the tree, but you have the freedom. So what does that mean? You have the freedom. Okay, so I can kick the ball and kiss the tree, but now I want to kiss the ball and kick the tree. Well, why did you kick the tree? Well, because I have the ability to do so. Okay, but my leg hurts now because I kicked the tree. Well, because you kicked the tree, but you were not supposed to kick the tree. You were supposed to kick the ball, and you were supposed to kiss the tree. So it's the same thing with everything in the world around us in the sense. So you have the freedom to go against what the programming is. You have the right to take a knife, put it to a chicken's head, cook the chicken and eat it. Okay, but I have a knife. I want to go put it on my friend's head. You have the freedom to do so, but you killed him. It's not a good thing. You see what I'm saying? So this is where like the freedom of choice and the actual free will occurs. You have your set instructions that you can, the things that it's a free world, you do what you want, but there's actions that don't belong in these certain areas. So that's where I don't believe in predestination, because you're picking, you have your own responsibility. What's your opinion on Daniel Hakikachu? There's 2 videos that will answer you. What is your interpretation of when someone is allowed to have up to 4 wives and criteria for having orphans? You have to prioritize the orphans. So if you have the ability to raise orphans, you should go raise the orphans first. And if you think that you're not going to be good with the orphans, then you go have, then you go marry 2, 3, or 4. And if you cannot be just with 3, more than 1 wife, then 1 is sufficient, right? So you should prioritize raising orphans first. Now, when do you get more than 1 wife? It's based upon your resources, and it's based upon your intention, okay? It's not about having a harem. It's about taking care of people and making the world a better place. Is there a byproduct of having many girls? Yes, that is a byproduct of it. But it's your intention is between you and God. Remember that. What is your interpretation of when someone is allowed to have up to 4 wives? We're done. Cool. Is it true that the passage where Abraham asked God to show him how he will resurrect the dead, the example of the bird, is not correct to translate it as train them, not kill them? No, it's kill them. It's yeah. So the people that consider that there is no miracles, they try to pass this around that no, but that I don't believe so. It was destined that Moses placed the staff at the exact same time and the sea split. It was choices of those humans as time to make that decision to stand with him or against him and God. Because Moses worked towards his destiny, that was written in his book. Where, yes, that is clear miracle. But actually, JS, so Moses could have been told directly, his free will could have been overridden and go to the burning bush, right? Or go to the sacred spot in the valley of Tuwa. But what God knew is that if he put a fire, Moses' character and who Moses is, by his own decision, by God's permission, by Moses' decision, he's going to go investigate the fire. So God put the burning bush, knowing that Moses is going to use his free will, going to investigate the fire, right? So God did not intervene on the promise of the free will, right? But God has put signs in front of you, knowing how you would react to the signs. So it would lead you to something good, or it would lead you to like the pain because you caused someone else pain. So this is why you have to keep your eyes open, because God knows what would it take to guide you in his world. So as I say many times, imagine you seeing like a leaf falling from the tree. You get a thought. God knew you were going to get the thought, so he allowed that thing to fall in front of you to get that thought for you to get guided and do what you have to do. So you always have to keep your eye out, and your reaction, God knows it very well. So it's playing chess with you. He's going to put something in front of you. You're going to react the way he knew how you're going to react. But this is God's mercy upon us, in a sense where he will make something appear, he will do something in front of us, because he wants us to get to him. So he wants us to have that reaction because we are good people. If you're not a good person and you're blind to the signs, God can show you the sign and he knows you're going to ignore it. But on the day of judgment, it's like, hey, I showed it to you. You noticed it. You didn't think about it. You're so quick. You wanted to go chase your things. You chased your things. You're lost. But did you see the sign? Yeah. Did you notice it? Yeah. Did you think about it? No. Okay, your fault. Sure. Walaikum salam. Life is a mix of destiny and choices. This family member of mine got hit by a sea train a few weeks ago. Okay, dude. Sorry. Can you stop showing me this? All right. Got hit by... That was her destiny to die in that way. That is a very difficult thing. I think it was the sum of all decisions that was made that led her to die that way. But one different decision, then she did not necessary for her to die that way. I believe she was destined to die when God wanted her heart to stop at the time that it was, when the body turns off. I think that's the time that God has destined for an entity to die, an actual natural death. Anything that's before that, it's because of the sum of decisions of everyone involved. But did God determine that she's going to die that way? Yes, it's been predetermined because of the decisions of everyone else. It's such a wide range of a topic. And okay, so here's the thing, by the way, when it comes down to morality and questions like this, the more you generalize, the difficult it is. The only entity that can generalize morality is God, because he knows the exceptions that needs to be listed. If I say killing is wrong, this is way too general, because there's times where killing is right. You see what I'm saying? And morality, for me, it's always comparative. So it's like, is it moral for that person? Or like, what's a good example of an easy question for morality? Is cheating okay? Is it moral to cheat? Okay, well, for me, if I get cheated on, it hurts. And if the person didn't cheat on me, it doesn't hurt. If I got cheated on, my trust is broken. If the person is not cheating on me, I can trust them. So when it came down to measuring what's good and wrong, it was always comparative, right? So these are just where like your natural instincts, your fitrah, and then at the same time is just really believing that you have freedom of choice, where your freedom of choice and your freedom is not, God does not oppress you. God gave you $1,000 and he said spend it where you want, but it's best you spend it there. But God is not going to be like, well, and you go, well, I'm going to spend it here. He goes, no, you're not going to spend it here. You're not allowed. And he takes your money. That's then a fake promise of free will. I think God is being, I personally believe God is very, obviously, very, very, he upholds his promises that he promised us the freedom of choice and the freedom of responsibility. And he's never impeded on that. But did he lead people because he knew how they would decide? Yes. Like, was it possible that that individual that you like, did she get a way where she would be led to that destiny? 100% that's possible, because maybe the person in the sea train had to deal with them ending that individual's life in that way. And I'm sorry for your loss. I'm sorry for your loss, by the way, JS. May God accept that family member and bring them into His mercy. Hopefully, you meet them again in heaven. So I will. What do you think? All right, guys. By the way, we're gonna wrap this up soon. Rejecting the Hadith is indeed very evil. I don't reject Hadith, bro. Quran is the best of Hadith. What is your concept of Quranic Khalifat and nationalism? Are we supposed to establish Khalifa, or is it fine? We're supposed to establish a community, Ummatan Wahida. Khalifa and the nationalism and having a country and all this, it is what is the requirement of the society of the time. Does that make sense? So if the society requires us to have a form of a Khalifa, then we should establish one. If the society is calling for us to have our own social platform, then we should do that. It's the requirements of the things. Okay, rejecting the Hadith is rejecting the Prophet Muhammad. Look, Shia are non-Muslims. Okay, before you tell me your sectarianism and SOA, right? The words that you're claiming that the Prophet said, it contradicts the Quran, therefore the Prophet didn't say it. I don't care however many of you come and tell me that there is a chain to link back to the Prophet. That is useless when the context itself is not accurate. I can come here and give you a chain, and it could be an accurate chain, and I can tell you the exact complete nonsense, and then at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what the chain is. When you're saying Sahih Hadith, it's not because of the context, it's because of the chain. I don't believe in the Quran because of the chain Muhammad Muhammad an Jibreel an Allah. Okay, this is not what the thing that gives credence to the Quran for me to say Muhammad an Jibreel an Allah. It's not the isnad that gives the truth to the Quran. It's the actual words and the context. So when I'm reading the Quran, I'm witnessing it in the world. Okay, so people who are mushriks are deaf, dumb, and blind. Okay, what's ishraq? To attach a concept to God which is not from God, or to give God a partner, or to give God an attribution which is not to God's to be attributed. That person is considered a mushrik. Okay, so he's deaf, dumb, and blind. Okay, I see this person attributing this fake book and saying that this is also revelation from God. I don't see that the context of that book is true. Okay, hey, this verse here that you're saying is that the Prophet said, it's not true. Men were never 60 meters tall. Oh, no. This. Okay, you're blind and deaf and stupid. So what the Quran said about you is true. This book is accurate. This book isn't. This book is claiming that it's from God. Everything in this book is making sense to me. I can witness it. I can testify the verses that I see in my life are applying to the real world. However the human is being described, I can see it. The evil person, I can see him. The good person, I can see him. The people who pray, I can see them. Okay? But when you're going to tell me that the devil is pissing in my ear if I don't wake up for Fajr, that's not something that is logical. It's not sensible. Well, how do you know it's in the realm of the unseen? But if I can't see it, then no one else can see it. Okay? And the worst part about it is the Christians say the same things. Well, it's in the realm of the unseen. 3 can equal 1, but in reality it can't. But in the unseen it can. God can do anything. Well, then at that point it's not religion, it's superstition. You're just telling me believe you without witnessing it. God is saying those that believe in the book and witnessed it. I'm witnessing the book. Shuhada. So the Torah, there's a verse about the Torah where God says the people, the prophets that submitted, and the rabbis and the Rabbani, they judge with it from what they memorized of the book, and they were witnessing to it. So if I'm seeing a verse of God, when I witness it, I know it's the truth because this is what God said will happen. This is what occurred. So this is God's programming. This is truth. Be kind to your parents. Okay, if I'm kind to my parents, I'm feeling good as a human being. So it's truth. I'm fighting my parents. My parents are breaking down. Everybody in the society hates me. So what God said is truth. Like, that's how it works. But if you're gonna come tell me, oh, the Prophet had sex with a 9-year-old and he married her at 6, God's book is telling me you can't marry a 6-year-old. And then you're gonna say that the Prophet that gave me this book, that taught me this book, went against this very book. So he just said the book and did whatever he wanted. Then that doesn't mean he was a very righteous man. Well, no, this is what we wrote. I don't care what you wrote. This is like Andrew Tate type stuff. Because he said it, now this happened. No, it's just some Andrew Tate came along, thought he was guiding and said a bunch of nonsense and said, well, I have my friends and my friend says the same thing. I don't care about your friends. It does not make sense for God saying that death will not fail. Angel of death to come take your life, it will not fail. And then you telling me, no, the prophet says that Moses punched the angel of death away, so the angel of death failed. No, then my prophet lied, because he told me the angel will not fail, and now you're telling me that the angel failed. What is the truth? Oh, the hadith is the truth. No, you're crazy. You're deaf, dumb, and blind. So I don't need an Muhammad, an Jibreel, an Allah. I need what the book said, and if the book is accurate, then I'm good. But when you're gonna tell me an Abu Huraira, an Abu Sa'd, an Abu Shahata, an Abu Ahmed, and on the gardener of the gardener of the neighbor of my cousin's wife heard the prophet say this, I don't care. Like, what is this nonsense? What's this nonsense, bro? These guys are like, their countries are ruined. God is not helping them, and they're persisting in their kufr. And they're gonna come at people who say, hey guys, the book of God is truth. I can see the truth in the book of God. You're a kafir. You're crazy. Weak or should be ignored. Hadith, you think some hadith are weak or should all be ignored? If it comes down to religious guidance, you ignore it. There is no religious guidance or religious duty outside of the Quran. What the hadith can be is a way to see maybe an application of a verse. Is it necessary? Absolutely not. Because this is an application of a verse that you don't know who actually said it. But if you can see the truth is everywhere. There's a Chinese proverb that says, cleanliness is godliness. Is that truth? Yeah. Why is it truth? Because the Quran says, Inna Allah yuhibbul mutatahhirin. Does that mean that the person who said cleanliness is godliness, now I have to listen to everything that he said? No. That aligned with the truth. The source is God at this point. So God guided to that person that cleanliness is something that God is from God. Amazing. It's the same thing with hadith. But if the hadith is telling me to stone the adulterer, I'm going to laugh at you. I'm going to be like, you don't stone adulterers. God said, whoop them. Oh no, it's about married. Yeah. God is talking about the married people who are who committed adultery. It's literally the next verses. It's like if they were married and there's no witnesses and it's only her husband witnesses, his testimony is 4 and the 5th one's God. This is married people. He said nothing about stoning. Oh, because there's a verse that's missing in the Quran, it's in the hadith. So the Quran is incomplete. No, it is complete. Well, you made absolutely no sense, brother. Become Shia. It's time, sir. Yeah, sure. I'll be Shia when I want to be crazy like Salam Abdul. Shia Ben, bro. Alright, cool. But some terrorists use the same logic you're using. Alright. Please point to me one Quran alone terrorist. Hey, Armor, do you want to start the first extremist Quran alone group? Man, this is the first. That one's. I wonder when we're gonna first get a Quran alone dash. Comparing us to Sunni terrorists, that's a first. Most of those people that do terrorist activities, they're 100% driven by hadith. They're all like, why do they throw the homosexual from the roof when ISIS was doing their thing? Why would they throw in homosexuals from the roof? Is that from the Quran? Is that a misinterpretation? The guy missed a prayer, they killed him. Why? Oh, is that from the Quran? Someone misses the prayer, kill him? You are weird, bro. Like, I wonder, let's see, like, let me understand from the history of the people I read Quran alone, who is more likely to start like a terrorist organization, an extremist Quran alone organization? What verse would he use? What about the one وَلَا تَتَعَدُّوا, like, do not transgress? إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يُحِبُّ الْمُعْتَدِينَ. God doesn't like those that transgress. How about that verse? Like, how is the terrorist going to explain that verse? Okay, cool. Any other questions, guys? Because I'm gonna have to wrap this up. This was funny. Today I learned about Quran alone. The reason why we need hadith, because people without hadith, they turn into terrorists. Astaghfirullah. Like, guys, honestly, I don't understand how people don't get how amazing God's book is. Like, pure cult. How do people not see it? Like, why is the book for you not enough? Like, why are you calling the person that believes in the book wholeheartedly, why do you call him a disbeliever? And I guarantee you, all these people that are writing Shia and all this, because you guys are is Shia are non-Muslim. Follow the logic. Is the hadith revelation from God? You're gonna say yes. Wahi yuha. Okay, someone came down and wrote this revelation and gave you a book and you said that it's authentic. So everything that's written in this book, the Prophet said on behalf of God. So you're saying that this book, okay, is written based upon what God said through the Prophet outside of the Quran. So you're saying that this book came from God, or these words came from God. If they didn't, this is shirk. Do you understand that? That's, you associated a book to God that it's not from God. This is the definition of shirk. And then the other thing is, your name is literally, your name is Shia are non-Muslims. So you have Sunni, you have Shia. Sunni is not a name that Abraham used, and Shia is not a name that Abraham used. Abraham used Muslim. He just knew Muslim, and we're all brothers. Shia are not Muslims. And the Shia say that the Sunnis are not Muslim. This is called sectarianism, which God says is shirk. وَلَا تَكُونُوا مِنَ الْمُشْرِكِينَ. Do not be of the mushrikeen. الَّذِينَ فَرَّقُوا دِينَهُمْ وَكَانُوا شِيَعًا. Those that segregated or sectarized their religion, or divided their religion and became sects. This is what you did. So the term mushrik is applying on you. It's not an insult. It's not putting you down. You can call me kafir. You can call me hadith rejector. You can call me whatever you want. But at the end of the day, I'm being technical with you. I'm using the language in the way that it applies. Astaghfirullah. One time, congregation service. Guys, Munshi, I apologize. I was supposed to come on earlier. I want to have it at a set time, but today it was it was a little different day, so I was a little late, and I kind of overslept. Not overslept. I slept late and woke up late. Sir, do you believe the Quran is created? Yes, the Quran for me is created, right? So it was created when God said it, because before the earth existed, before the world was created. Therefore, you're saying that Arabic was already created, and these stories were always eternal. That doesn't make sense for me. So for the Quran to be eternal with God, that means the concept of Muhammad always existed with God, and it was technically never created. And Abraham was never created because they've already been talked about since forever. God says to believe in God, the last day, the angels, the messengers, the book, right? The last day is going to be created. The angels are created. The messengers are created. Therefore, the book is created, and God's the only entity that's not created. May Allah punish who? Punish you for misguiding people. Yeah, if I'm misguiding people, may God forgive me. How's that go? And may Allah intervene on your behalf for you actually feeling terrible for people being misguided. But if you don't change your way and understand that you might be insulting the wrong people, then my God you're his servant. God will do whatever he wants with you. What do you think of the Mu'tazila? I have a lot to think about the Mu'tazila. How do you understand the Jizya? Jizya is tax, but it's not like by force. It's like the state tax, in my understanding. And it does not have to be. There's a few interpretations. Jizya needs to have a topic on its own, but it does not necessitate that you have to take money from the people. But sorry, in regards to the Mu'tazila are people who used reason over copying other people. So they needed to understand the concepts for them to make a judgment. There is a lot of also like different schools of thought in Mu'tazila. If you want to see someone that I kind of agree with, he's called, I believe, Ibn Munir. Okay, so his concept was like rationality is the reason why the human was capable of defeating polytheism, because he used rational thinking. So Abraham, it was God's given rationality that helped Abraham defeat polytheism, because he said that the star is his God, is his Lord. But then he realized that the moon is bigger than the star. And then he understood that it was a Lord needs to be dominant. So the moon's light is more dominant than the star's light. Therefore, the moon has to be Lord. But the moon's light disappeared. And then the sun appeared, and the sun was bigger than the moon. So this is my Lord. But then the light of this Lord disappeared. But my Lord cannot disappear. My Lord has to always be there. So Abraham, in his rationality, understood that for something to be a Lord, it has to be constant and it has to be the brightest. And then he realized it's bigger than the concept of the physical objects in front of him, because God created all three of things, and then he understood that it can only be one. And then it was game over from there. So the Mu'tazila is all about the theological reasoning on why things are. But then you have someone like Zamakhshari, which he would explain to you the concepts with rationality, but then he for some reason jumps back to like traditional understanding. Like you can go to Zamakhshari's book and his exegesis. He's talking about the thing about like the whipping for an adulterer, and then all of a sudden he writes that, well, but because of tradition we're supposed to stone the adulterer. And then someone can ask, he literally writes, well, one can ask, but the verse is inclusive to all people who commit adultery. And he goes, yes, that is true. The verse is talking about everyone that commits adultery, but we do also have to understand tradition. And then he gives this whole weird narration, but he's saying the language does say that it's for all adulterers as whipping. So he's using his ration, and then he goes to some really weird topic. But anyways, I became Quran alone before finding out of Quran alone YouTubers. Same. No, I can't say that, R9. No. Muhammad is not greater than Jesus, and Jesus is not greater than Muhammad. I can't say that. No, brother, I love Jesus as much as I love Muhammad. The reason why I debate with Sunnis and whatnot, because I believe that they're insulting Jesus, and if someone insulting Muhammad, and if someone insults Jesus, I have the same feeling. No, I love Jesus a lot, man. With my close friends, well, certain close friends, I actually quote Jesus a lot, because they know it's not like about hadith. I'm saying like if Jesus allegedly said this, isn't that applicable to us? Isn't that amazing? And people will usually agree. The Quran is enough, all sectarian is bad. I love you both. What's up, Joseph? As takfirism is common plague now, calling kafir. What is your interpretation of truth? For me, it's someone who has been exposed to the true Islam, not Sunnism, and rejected. So a Christian who has no clue of Quran or no only Sunnism, kafir. That's my understanding. By the way, who knows who kafir? Okay, so God sent the book for us to judge. So there's some people that if I see verses being applied to him, I can test that he is a kafir by the book. Does that mean he's going to hell? No, that's not necessary for that person to go to hell, but I have to use the book to judge. So if a person is showing signs of hypocrisy, if a person is showing signs of ingratitude, if the person is not adhering to what God is clearly saying when you're saying to that first, to me that person he showed ingratitude, kafir. He doesn't want to play the game. He doesn't want to do the part. So I just let him be. See what I'm saying? So I let him be. But do I go and say that he's a kafir and stuff? If the words have to get to that level, then the person really disrespected me or went above and beyond. Because God says to deal with people in an elegant and a wise way. But if a person comes to me and goes, oh, you guys are kafirs, I'm like, you can call me kafir, but you're still a mushrik. Well, no, you guys are going to hell and stuff. Brother, the only people that are going to hell are people who associate to God, from what I understand, and the people who want to deny God. Do you deny God? No. That's a verse of God. Do you deny that? No, I don't deny. Okay, then stop being a sectarian. I'm not a sectarian. Yeah, you are. Is this book from God? No, it isn't. Well, why are you treating it as this? Well, because it's interpretation. Okay, then you're just saying a bunch of nonsense. Get away from me. One second, Alex. I've defended Islam's and brothers and considered them as my brothers, even though they attacked me and my faith, just like the brainwashed Islamophobes do with Muslims and Islam, so I attacked them. Hi, assalamu alaikum, my dear brother. I'm a monotheistic Abrahamic faith adherent Orthodox Christianity believer, but kuffar according to your fellow Muslims. You're not a kafir, bro. Why would you say that? I mean, like, if people are calling you that, no. Look, listen. I wouldn't consider you a kafir. Okay, I might, if you believe that Jesus is the Son of God, I'm going to say you have problems with your theology. But I will tell you what Jesus will say to God on the day of judgment, because there's opportunity. God says, God asks Jesus, did you tell them to take me as a God, or to take Jesus as a God? He's going to say, exalted is you, I did not say these words. Okay, you know if I said it, but I didn't say these words. So he frees himself. But then Jesus also says that, like, if you want to punish them, they are your servants. But if you forgive them, right, you are the mighty, the wise. So we all who get close to God, we can see that some people are really indoctrinated because of their environment and the way they grew up. It is very difficult for them to escape that idea. They are worthy of going to hell. But if someone comes to me with a message like you did, I also can witness that this person had a good heart, that this person did consider God. He did consider the other believers. He did consider other people. He put God in his picture, but he attached an image to God, which in your case could be Jesus. I don't know. But that does not mean that now God is going to straight put you to hell. He's going to judge all your actions, and he might intercede on your behalf and put you in heaven, and your crime of associating Jesus to God, you might have had to deal with it in the world. Like, you might get an incident, you might get an accident where that was the recompensation for the evil that you did, saying that God had a son, for example, a begotten son. Okay, so I know there's different interpretations to this. I don't think anyone that's saying that Jesus is the Son of God is going to hell necessarily has to go to hell. No, they're going to go through a punishment, whether on the world, whether when they're facing God. But there are some people who are truly wholeheartedly dedicating themselves to serving God in the way they grew up, in the ability that they understood, even if their heart is concealed to certain concepts. But they didn't consider Muslims as an enemy. They didn't consider Jews as enemies. They hated people denying God stuff. Like, they hated the stuff with, like, for example, LGBT, for example. They hated things like late abortions. That person, to me, he's wise enough to consider God in the picture. God's not evil to me. God is not, like, he's not a cop waiting for you to say something wrong to just put you in hell. I think there's many reasons why people will end up being to heaven without us understanding now why. But when God explains it to us, you're going to be like, wow, yeah, God's amazing. God, like, so yeah, I don't think that everyone's going to thank you, sister. We need a Khalifa. I would love that, but we can work towards that as time. God loves us. That's true, David. God does not punish people until he sends a message. That's very true, Jibreel. That's very true. I respect your beliefs, and you're a very intelligent and peaceful person. For my belief, especially Orthodox Christianity, faith other than the sects of, like, Catholicism. To be honest, I'm not sure what you mean by Orthodox Christianity faith. The Christianity that I read about and I understand, well, I know a few sects, but the one that I understand and I appreciate is the Unitarian Christians. Those that I understand, I have absolutely no problem with them, with the Unitarian Christians. Orthodox Christians, I'm not sure. Wait, I know Syrian Orthodox Christians. I know Serbian Orthodox Christians. Now there's the Russian Orthodox Christians. There is some theological issues there, but in like places like in Lebanon and Syria and Palestine, they get along very well, because we know how to put that difference to the side. Because at the end of the day, we understand that the message of Jesus and the message of Muhammad is about to be good humans in the eyes of God. We have a problem with the understanding on how to view God, but that's where our Orthodox Christian faces concepts about Father, Allah, good being, higher in monarchy, contrast to everyone being the same. Yes, that we get that. Yes, okay, yeah. Yes, okay. So I understand. You're like Palestinian Orthodox Christians and Lebanese Orthodox Christians. The Russian Orthodox Christians much different than the ones that are in. They align to the same things, but they have the concept of also monarchy on the land, which they would consider the Tsar. Yes, yes, those people have disbelieved, but it does not necessitate hell. It it's going back to those people that have to that do well, right? So الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات. So if he has some form of faith and he's doing righteous deeds, then it's between him and God. But God is very merciful. Do you think Sunnis will enter paradise? Yes, I do think Sunnis have a chance of entering paradise, because again, it's the same concept. If the person is wholeheartedly not pushing people away, wanting to build bridges, he doesn't care about the whole Sunni Shia thing. He believes in some of the hadith, he has some of the delusions, he might appreciate the Prophet more than the other prophets, but he was genuinely a good person. Why is this person going to go to hell when you're telling me my God is very merciful and understanding? It's like, if I am a person who has a son, and my son insults me without him realizing it, but my son is a very good person, but he puts me down without him understanding that he's putting me down, but he's genuinely a good son, am I gonna fault him and kick him out of my house and kick his ass and just ruin his whole life and ruin everything because he just does not see the fact that he's hurting me in a way that he doesn't understand that he's hurting me? No, I'm gonna forgive him and mercy. I'll remind him and I'll show him. But at the day it matters, I'm not going to torture him. I'm Russian Orthodox Christians. Yeah, we have the same with Arabic Orthodox Christians. I believe Russians are a little different, but it's still like it's still trying to adhere to the Book of God. Okay, let's put it this way: you guys at least try to adhere to the Book of God the way that you understand what the Book of God is. Is there merit to that? Absolutely, absolutely. There's merit to that. Does that mean you're on the absolute truth? I don't think so. I think there's topics for debate and discussions. It's the exact same things with Sunni, it's the exact same things with Shia, it's the exact same things with Jews. Because God clearly says that the Christians say about the Jews that they're on nothing, and the Jews say about the Christian that they're on nothing, and they're both reading the book, right? And then the people that don't know say similarly to what these people say, and God will judge between them on a day of judgment. This is in chapter 2. So to me, to say that all the Christians are on nothing, they're done, they're stupid, they lost, it's over, khalas, I'm in trouble on the day of judgment, because at that point I'm showing that I don't know. To me, to say that Sunnism is all done, khalas, they're all going to hell, they're brokenness, this is not being accurate to what the word said. Dark Spider Warrior. Let me see, brother. Bro, could you answer? Is jinn possession black magic, evil eye? No. According to the Quran, or is it made up hadith? Because Quran is against superstitions and omens, and elaborate first. Is black magic and evil? So yeah, I believe you asked me about this before. So no. The concept of magic exists. You can curse somebody. You can have somebody get possessed by a jinn by cursing somebody. Jinn possession real? Absolutely, it's real. I don't want to get into. Jinn possession is absolutely real, and technically anyone who moves away from the remembrance of God, he's possessed by a jinn. Because God clearly states that those وَمَنْ يَعْشُ عَنْ ذِكْرِ الرَّحْمَنِ نَقِيدُ لَهُ شَيْطَانٍ. So those that are moving away from the remembrance of God, God will drive towards them a devil who becomes a Qarun, an antagonist to them, and he will delude him in the world. So that person is possessed by a thought, possessed by an evil entity, possessed by a jinn at this point, a devilish jinn, and they go put him in, they drive him to hell. You see what I'm saying? So yeah, the concept of possession is true. Can a good person be possessed? Possibly, but it's easy to deal with, because that jinn is stepping out of line. Okay? These are concepts that are very... But a lot of people who end up with having a possession is because they said or did something that is against God or against God's book, where it's enough for you to get punished in the world for it. But can you get it out? Yeah, you just become loyal again to God. All right, guys. I do have to, I know I said this a few times, but I really appreciate you guys having your questions and give me the feedback. How does someone become mod? I have all the mods that I need right now, and inshallah in the future, if I need more mods, I'll just see whatever God guides me to in that moment. Can you explain why they translate the verse that allows to hit a woman when Baba Shuaib has different translation, which I like more and makes more sense. But why do they do it? Because of hadith? They're being literal with the word. So تضربوهن literally means hit, right? But if you're going to look at it on the scope of the Quran, it can have a different interpretation, right? But do you want to take the interpretation of hit? You have grounds to stand on. Is it something that I would recommend? I don't know. I wouldn't recommend it or not recommend it. But if it's a honest, sincere interpretation, then there's a way of application where you're not transgressing. But do people transgress because of this verse? Absolutely. Do people go out of their way in that verse? Absolutely. Okay? So it's not for me to say that this is a correct interpretation or a not a correct interpretation. Is Baba Shuaib's interpretation correct? I can see the merit to it. I can see why he's saying it, and I can agree with it. Please tell us your opinion about Shias. Okay, but please do not spam my channel. Inshallah, dark truth. Jinns are most likely the same being as demons or fallen angels from Holy Bible. Yes, jinn is a demon. For me, if I'm going to translate the word jinn, I would translate it as demon. I feel jinn infestation is a better word. Jinn possession. Infestation, actually, you're right. That is... terrorism is a very bad thing, 100%. All right, Abdul Hafiz, thank you. Yes, there we go. So, about Shia, they have been pushed into a way where they are worshipping Ali. A lot of them. All of them? No. But do we need to think about Ali when it comes down to Islam? Absolutely not. Is it a sect? Yes. Should you be sects in Islam? No. Do you need to concern yourself with Hussein and Ali and the grandkids of the Prophet? No. Do you need to concern yourselves with the wives of the Prophet? No. Do you need to respect the wives of the Prophet? Yes. But do you need to read their life stories? No. Do you need to sit here and defend Ali? No. That's it. That's my point of Shia. Is there a lot of delusions in Shiism? Yes. Is there a lot of delusions in Sunnism? Yes. If we're going to do comparative, Sunnis have more ground to stand on than Shiism. But where do Sunnis fail? Sunnis fail with the whole concept and appreciation for someone like Muawiyah. Muawiyah, to me, from what I read and what I saw and my own judgment, I don't know exactly what happened. But if someone's going to tell me to take an opinion on Muawiyah, I want to say he sounds like a criminal, evil man and he should have never been in power. But people are going to defend him, but people defend a lot of people nowadays that are in power, considered Muslims, which are not Muslims. So I think Muawiyah was very comparative to a lot of people that we're dealing with nowadays, and I think that trend carried on after Muawiyah, where evil people were taking the seat and people thinking that they're religious people, but they're not. And this is by what the history wrote. I don't know the person, I don't care about the person. Is this part of my religion? Absolutely not. This is me just intrigued by history. Okay, so Muhammad, there are people where you can clearly see they're destined to hell. Okay, they're destined to hell, other than they change themselves. Do I have to sit here and debate whether Netanyahu is going to heaven? No, he's going to hell. It's very clear to me that he's going to hell. Okay, from the way that there's so many verses that's applied to him and his characteristic, his mindset, his body language, the way he talks, the way he looks, and his meetings and the lies and the constantly, and the way that he's calculating, and I could see the calculations on his face. I don't know what he's calculating, but his body language is extremely evil. Because it's those people that came to our land and they're killing our people, and we have the right to defend ourselves. You're an evil person. So at that person, one, you disassociate from them, and you have to treat them now as the enemy of God. So that's how some verses are very clear. Some people, for me, I'll give you a good example. Is Andrew Tate going to hell? I don't know. I really don't know. Do I see enough signs that he is? Yes. Yes, he to me is a person that is very hypocritical, and he's using and abusing people to a level that he shouldn't be doing it, and he's writing a lot of stuff that goes against the Quran, and then when he gets caught, he just writes Alhamdulillah just to appease the people. But is it he deluded? Yeah. Does that mean he has to go to hell? He does kind of show signs where he does have a consideration for God. Is that enough for him on the Day of Judgment? God is forgiving, merciful. But is that someone I'm going to associate with him and promote? And no, Because to me, in my personal judgment, clearly now, he's done enough for him to be done for unless he fixes himself. So this is how I apply verses. Thank you, sis. Yeah, but there's good demons and bad demons. Demons does not necessitate for him to be bad. For Icorn Flex, there's demons that are good, which are technically called phoenixes, and then there's a demon that's evil, which is definitely called a devil. But they're both, to me, consideration as a demon. Bro, appreciate your answers. Thank you for your sound answers and logic. Alhamdulillah. That's all we have, brother, is our logic and the book of God to help us understand. Because, okay, so they think, oh, authority of the people, an authority among you, do you have to obey them? Yeah, because God told us to. Well, are there commands in the Quran? No. So it's commands outside of the Quran. Yes. Okay, so how do you obey the Prophet? By obeying the Quran. No. Obeying God is obeying the Quran. No, dude. Obeying the Prophet, obeying the messenger, not the Prophet, astaghfirullah, is obeying the Quran. That's what the messenger gave me. You can obey God outside of the Quran, but then for them, obey God is Quran, obey the messenger is Hadith, obey the ruler is whatever he told you. But even in that verse, if they carry it at the end, that if you don't agree with your ruler, then you turn it back to God and his messenger. So if the ruler is telling me to go kill my brothers in a certain country, I'm going to say, no, I don't have to obey you. Why? God said to obey the authority among you, and I'm the authority. Yeah, but God and his messenger said, do not kill your brothers. Here, you see what the messenger said? This is documented of what the messenger told us. Okay, and God clearly told us, do not kill. Like, I don't like being killed, so don't kill people. Okay, so God and his messenger decided, don't kill people. But, yeah, I don't, there's a saying, I don't know how to say, spitting in the wind. Nowadays, there's a lot of spitting in the wind that has to be done, where it's nonsense. You can't help the person. Bro, what did the Prophet do to... Alright guys, this guy you can ban, please. That's why, you see how God... No, this guy can be banned. There we go. Yeah. So... You see guys, this is how honestly I work, like, with, this is a very good example on how I approach my matters with God. There was a guy here called Charitable Citizen. He asked about modership, being moderator. The way that he asked this question was sincere. It felt to me. I knew this feeling here because I try to stay as close to God, that I wanted him to feel happy. Right? So I made him a moderator, and then I saw a friend that I know for a while. I was like, he's deserving to be a moderator too, because I can trust this man, right? So I added him as well as a moderator. But the way that this R9 asked, and the way that he was showing his questioning, trying to show that he was a friend, it did not feel sincere. And this was by the permission of my God, right? So I said to him when he asked for moderation, I said, look, I don't need moderators now. And I told him the truth. I don't need moderators now. But I didn't even consider him even for the next time, right? And I would have told him again, no, I don't want you as a moderator next time. And as soon as he was rejected, he insulted the Prophet. Like, this is how amazing God is with the believers. I could have made a mistake, right? And thought that I'm pleasing people and I'm just adding people, which I did with my other brother, Charitable Citizen. But I could have gave him modership, and then he would have started deleting everybody's messages, and it would have been a little bit embarrassing that moment. But you see how amazing God is? How he protects the believers, how he embarrasses and humiliates the disbelievers. I know he's listening, he might laugh, but this is him on the day of judgment. He's going to witness what I just said, he's going to hear it, and he's going to feel like a loser because he's insulting people who are talking about God. He came, he thought he's being happy. No way, bro. MashaAllah. I need to prostrate. Oh man. Charitable Citizen is a friend that I know for a while. What? And I modded him. I didn't even know who it was at that point. And it was somebody that I would put as a mod on my channel, no problem, because it's a person I trust a lot, and he's actually sincere in the way that he prays. Subhanallah. No, you gave me goosebumps, bro. You see how amazing God is? God even let me pick for my channel somebody that I would trust when I was just trying to be nice to the person, because he seemed like a genuinely nice person. But the person that I judged was someone that I knew for a while, which I always thought that he's a genuinely sincere person. And it lined up twice without me knowing him. You see how amazing God is? Like, if you're really close to God, MashaAllah. Thanks, Alex. Is Satan an angel who disobeyed? Yes. In the moment, he had the title of an angel because he was an angel. Okay? Angel means he had ownership of something that God gave him to. Then he disobeyed and he left. How you doing, man? I'm good. But Blue Lion, I was actually sincere. At this moment in time, I don't need more moderators. God is great. SubhanAllah. Like, this is... Guys, God doesn't humiliate his believers. Like, if you genuinely love God, I'm trying not to like be emotional. When you genuinely love God, like you actually consider God, you want to be a good person, not so that people say that you're a good person, it's just so that God is pleased with you. Like, the way that it's replied to you in events, you're just doing what you naturally feel is right. You wanting to do right. But the results is always so unexpected sometimes, but it's so in your favor, you're quickly humbled. You see what I'm saying? Like, it... Anyways, SubhanAllah. SubhanAllah. Yeah, those who make a big show of their prayers are soon going to repent. Yeah. But, like, if you love God and you're thankful to God, you should prostrate when something good happens. Prostrating is amazing. I'm prostrating again. What's up, brother? Let's find the truth. What's up, brother? Salam to all. Alright, guys. I have one last question above, bro. Please do your answer. Is it the world flat? You're gonna ask me the world's flat? World's not flat. Okay, I have one more last question. Last question, brother. What was the higher assembly and their feud? Some people say that it was Satan who was angel wanting to be God's. Yes, so the Mala'ul A'la. Okay, so when you go to any organization, the way that we've been programmed, this is because we see it and we're applying it because it makes sense. You have your leader. Below the leader, you have the generals. Below the generals, you have, let's say, lieutenants, whatever. Below the lieutenants, you have the sergeants. Below the sergeants, you have like the bigger force. So it's one leader, and it kind of like goes down into almost a pyramid. I believe it's the same thing as the concept of death. Like, for example, the angels of death. You have God, and then you have the main angel of death, who's responsible for death in this planet. Below him, he has many, like he might have a few, like capos, a few generals under, or a few lieutenants under him, and then he has his soldiers below him. So as soon as he gets the idea, he knows how to, where it needs to go for God's command to occur, right? So the highest assembly, right, that is the people that are like the angels that are closest to God, that trickle down the commands to the rest of the angels that work for them. So you can have, like, for example, these are examples. I'm not saying angels, not angels, but they are in a position of angelship. You had Gabriel, Jibreel. You had Michael. You had the angel of death. You had the angel of growth, for example. You had the angel, and then you have Iblis, okay, which is the angel of might, okay, at that time. As soon as there was a command that one of them didn't agree, they started to argue among each other, right? Like, how dare you? No, I have right. You don't have the right. You shouldn't obey God. They were arguing. Like, they were trying, I believe, to force him to listen. And in that argument, he disengaged and he lost and he fell, right? But we were not aware of this engagement, and God made us aware of this engagement where the argument as well as it does not necessitate for it to be, another interpretation is, it does not necessitate for the angels to be arguing with each other, but rather one of the angels in the higher assembly arguing with God. God gave an order and the angel says, no, I don't want to do it. No, you have to do it. If you don't do it, you can leave. You cannot stay up here if you're going to disobey me. Let me stay up here for a while until the day of judgment. Fine, you want to stay, stay. But you're done. You know that, right? Okay, I'm done. But that's why he still has that certain power that he has. Anyway, so become Shia. How do I make Muslims accept me? But you're welcome here anytime you want. Alright, guys. Yes, I do pray in congregation. And I love everybody that came who was being polite and honest, and I enjoyed your company. May God bless this congregation today. I had a very amazing sign today. It's very nice to see you, Charitable. Glad you stopped by. Alhamdulillah. I love when I see you as well, Mr. Wolf. And thank you, Certain Special Sister, for coming as well. And all my other sisters and brothers that came. I thank everyone for their input. And let's find the truth. When I do sujood, I try to face the Qibla, but sometimes, like, I would guess if I don't, I can prostrate anyway. As the prostration is for God for me. So, but yeah, now that I know who you are, hold on. Can I do this? Yeah, I can do this. Yeah, this is different. Boom. This is the one that you need, because there's a few different levels of moderation. So now we're a little higher. Alhamdulillah. Alright, guys. Peace. See you next week. Assalamu alaikum. Remember, chapter 43. I'm going to go pray 43 right now. I would recommend you guys pray Zukhruf, chapter 43. And just to wrap up we already wrapped up. But remember the lessons of Qarun, Harun, astaghfirullah al-azim, Qarun, Haman, and Pharaoh, right? So Pharaoh, Haman, and Qarun, and how their character is widespread in front of us with the people that our people are calling as leaders. Salam, Sister Ashley, and salam, Brother Joseph. You guys got me on the way out. Inshallah, next week we can. I'm gonna try to keep this at a steady time, just so you know. Do you believe Iblis? Iblis was an angel. He's no longer an angel. Okay, guys. Assalamu alaikum. My camera had enough. Peace.